This week's parsha of Nitzavim. So the Torah tells us a cryptic pasuk: "Anistoros la Hashem Elokeinu, v'aniglos lonu lavonenu, la'asos es kol divrei haTorah hazos." So what does that refer to? So the simple explanation, the pshat, is that the Torah has described for us before the description of the destruction that the Rebbeinu Shalom Kaviyachol brought upon Eretz Yisrael and upon the Jewish people. V'ro'u as tachaluei or tzazos, called tachuleo, everything that happened here. And so the nations of the world will say, what is the reason for this great display of anger, of punishment? What did they do? Because if we look in the world on a comparative scale, so to speak, if we today's the first day of school, so if we marked on the curve, on the average, so the Jewish people are not on the bottom. So, what is all of this great anger? What is all of this great punishment? The Omru, so then they will say, well, because Alozvon, because they forsook the Torah that God made with them, they broke the covenant, and therefore all of this happened to them. So this, by the way, was the justification throughout the ages of the attitude of the Christian church towards the Jews, is that the Jews were entitled to be persecuted. That, so to speak, they were doing God's will because of the fact that the Jews forsook the Torah, and naturally, because they denied the rise of Christianity, the truth of it. So therefore, that's the reason for Me'achori Yoaf HaGadol Hazeh. And therefore they felt free to perpetrate it. Now, that was religious anti-Semitism. Over time, religious anti-Semitism morphed into racial anti-Semitism. That just being a Jew was a crime. And in our time, it has morphed into national anti-Semitism. Because of the Jewish nation, because of the Jewish state, so then, therefore, all of this is justified. But that's not the interpretation that, for instance, Rashi gives. Rashi says a convoluted pshat here, that based on the Gemara, that Anistoros Lashem Elokeinu Aniglos Lonu Levanenu, is that before they went there to Israel, they weren't punished on the Nistoros, on the hidden sins. When they came to Eretz Yisrael, so then the covenant came to bind them on all sins, even on the hidden sins, and therefore they would be chayiv, they would be held liable even on the nistoros, even on what is hidden. Now, this posuk is written differently in the Torah than all other psukim, because it has nekudos on top of it. There are dots on top of the words V'anistoros L'Hashem Elokeinu, v'aniglos lonu l'vaneinu ad olam, Masas kol divrei HaTorah azos. There is a difference of opinion in the poskim whether if you have a Sefer Torah that does not have those dots, is that Sefer Torah kosher? Because there are those that hold that those dots are halacha l'Moshe Misinai. In other words, they were in Moshe's Torah. Moshe put the dots there. And therefore, if the dots are omitted, it's like letters in the Torah are omitted. It creates a problem, etc., etc. So there are all sorts of interpretations as to what the dots mean and why the dots are here. But over the centuries, the posuk has come to mean to the Jewish people that there are many, many things that are hidden from us that will not make sense. And as the exile became longer and longer and more bitter, and the questions raised were therefore more powerful, so then the whole thing became a davar nistor. The whole Jewish story is a mystery. What does it represent? Why should all of these things occur? So therefore, this came as a verse of comfort, so to speak, that the Rabbanu Shalom told us in advance, Anistoros L'Hashem Elokeinu, whatever is hidden, what you will not be able to understand and explain, which looks to be completely irrational and even unjustified, doesn't fit into any rules. That's Anistoros L'Hashem Elokeinu. So that falls into what the Rabbanu Shalom told Moshe, Kelo Yirani Odam V'choi. No human being can see me as long as he is alive. And what the Novi Yeshayahu expands on that and says, Kilo darchechem jochoi v'lo machshavosechem machshavosai. You'll never understand me. In effect, it's a pursuit of folly almost to attempt to understand me. Because the mortal cannot understand the immortal, and the temporary cannot understand the eternal. So forget it. And so then these psukim came to confirm that idea. That Anistoros, what is hidden, is L'Hashem Elokeinu. You have all sorts of questions. So they once asked a Jew, he was celebrating his 100th birthday. So they asked him, Bameh harachta yomim? How come you lived so long? So he said, I had many questions in life, and many things that I didn't understand. Many things seemed wrong and unfair. And I had a dream one night, and in the dream I saw an angel. And the angel said to me, you have all of these questions. Would you like to know the answers? And he said, yes, certainly I would like to know the answers. He said, okay. The only thing is, to know the answers, you got to come up here. You can't know them if you stay down there. So I decided that I would rather live with the questions than not be alive with the answers. So that's the concept of Anistoros L'Hashem Elokeinu. The things that are hidden from us. that we really have no answers to, that remain mysterious, that tax our logic, and really they tax our faith as well. So in the last 100 years of Jewish life, certainly is Anistoros Lashem Elokeinu. The whole thing, from one end of the story to the other end of the story. So it's all a dover nistor, it's all hidden from us, not given over to any sort of logical or historical interpretation. If somebody would stand up from 100 years ago and look at the world today, he would not recognize it. The Jewish world, certainly. So that's the idea on Nistoros Lashem Elokeinu. V'aniglos. But what is clear is that we have to do what we have to do. Lasas, it's called Divrei HaTorah Azos. That's what we said. Naaseh v'nishma. We're going to do it anyway. V'nishma. Maybe we'll be able to understand, maybe we won't. But the naaseh is never canceled by the fact that the v'nishma may not be apparent and clear to us at the moment. And therefore, the Forshim say, to emphasize that, that's why they put the nekudos on top of this posuk. It would be like, in English we have, sometimes you want to emphasize something, you write it in italics, or you write it in bold font, because you want that the reader should take notice. You should understand that this is a crucial and important message that explains everything else. So here also the nekudos came to emphasize that this is our attitude towards events, both past and current, and that our attitude is that Anistoros Lashem Elokeinu, a lot of things that are going to happen and that did happen that remain to us Anistoros, that remain hidden without any explanation. But Vaniglos, what is clear is that for us and our generations, for Klal Yisrael, is Lasas Kol Divrei HaTorah Azos, we have to do ours. And so that becomes an integral part of the message of this week's Parsha. It's a small Parsha, it's only 40 psukim, but a very powerful Parsha, because it recites the covenant between God and Israel again. And it seems to put it in this light of Nistoros and Niglos, and Lasas is called Divrei HaTorah Azos. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashi Omer Ratz HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakas Es Yisrael V'fichol Chirbo Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenema Adonai Chod Ben Siman Tzidkoi Avdil Torah